Dr. Alex Rivera never thought his Tuesday morning would change everything. He was drinking his third cup of coffee when the emergency alert flashed across every screen in the research facility. The message was simple but earth-shattering. First, contact confirmed. All senior staff report immediately. Alex had spent 15 years studying alien life possibilities. But he always imagined first contact would happen somewhere else, with someone else. Not here at the Mountain View Research Center, and definitely not with him getting chosen as the primary contact specialist. The alien ship appeared like a silver teardrop floating just above the facility's main landing pad. It was beautiful in a way that made Alex's chest tight. No harsh edges, no visible engines, just smooth curves that seemed to bend light around them. When the door opened, it didn't slide or swing. It simply wasn't there one moment and was open the next. 3 beings stepped out. Alex forgot how to breathe properly. They looked almost human, but not quite. It's tall and graceful, with skin that seemed to glow from within. Their eyes were larger than human eyes, a deep violet color that seemed to hold starlight. The one in front was clearly female, though her features were more delicate than any human face Alex had ever seen. "I am Kira," she said, and her voice was like music played on instruments that didn't exist on Earth. "We are the Valtharians. We come seeking understanding." Alex stepped forward, trying to remember his training. "Welcome to Earth. I'm Dr. Alex Rivera. We're honored to meet you." When Kira looked at him, something strange happened. Her skin patterns, which had been a steady soft blue, suddenly flickered with quick pulses of gold. She blinked, looking confused, then the patterns returned to their calm blue state. "You will show us your world?" she asked. Over the next few days, Alex became Kira's guide to human life. She was fascinated by everything, but Alex noticed she paid special attention to couples they passed. When they walked through the town square and saw a young couple holding hands, Kira stopped walking entirely. "What are they doing?" she asked. "They're showing affection. They care about each other, so they touch hands to feel connected." Kira tilted her head. "This serves what purpose?" Alex thought about how to explain something so basic. "It makes them happy. When you care about someone, touching them feels good. It's comforting." Kira's skin patterns flickered again, faster this time. "Feels good," she repeated slowly, like she was tasting the words. They continued their tours, but Alex kept catching Kira staring at couples, families hugging, even friends laughing together. Each time, those golden flickers appeared in her skin. Patterns. On their 4th day together, Alex took her to the facility's greenhouse. He thought she might enjoy seeing earth plants, since her own world was apparently quite different from ours. "Your planet has no flowers?" Alex asked as they walked between rows of roses and jasmine. "We have growing things, but they serve only function, food, oxygen, building materials." Kira reached toward a red rose, then stopped. "May I, of course?" "Here, let me show you." Alex gently took her hand and guided it to the rose petals. "Feel how soft they are." The moment her fingers touched the petals, Kira gasped. Her entire body went still, and her skin patterns exploded into swirling gold and silver lights. The change was so dramatic that Alex dropped her hand and stepped back. "Are you okay?" "I did." "It hurt?" Kira was staring at her own hand like it belonged to someone else. What was that sensation?" He felt the texture of the petals. "Humans find them pleasant to touch." "Pleasant," she whispered, looked at Alex with wide eyes. "Show me more." Alex guided her through the greenhouse, letting her touch different plants, smell the flowers, even taste safe fruits. With each new sensation, Kira's skin patterns became more active. By the time they reached the jasmine section, she was practically glowing. "This scent," she said, breathing deeply near the white flowers. "It creates a feeling inside me, like warmth, but not temperature warmth. Something else. That's probably what we call pleasure, when something makes you feel good inside." Kira turned to look at him, and Alex saw something in her violet eyes he hadn't seen before. An intensity, almost like hunger, but different. "Pleasure feeling," she said quietly. "It happens more when you are near." Alex felt his heart skip a beat. "What do you mean? When other humans show me things, the sensations are mild. When you guide my hand, when you explain with your voice close to mine, The feelings are much stronger. Her skin patterns pulsed. Brighter. Is this normal for your species? Alex realized he was in completely uncharted territory. He was a scientist, not a relationship counselor, and definitely not qualified to explain human attraction to an alien who apparently had never experienced anything like it. Kira, I think we should talk to the medical team about what you're experiencing. Medical team? Her patterns suddenly shifted to rapid red pulses. Am I sick? Have you made me sick? No, I don't think you're sick. But you're describing feelings that your people don't normally have, right? You should understand what's happening. Kira backed away from him, her patterns now flashing angry orange. You have done something to me? Changed me somehow? Haven't done anything except show you around, ... Before meeting you, I was normal. My biorhythms were stable. My thought patterns followed proper Valtharian logic. She pointed at her glowing skin. Look at me now. These patterns, these sensations, this chaos in my mind when I look at you. You have contaminated me with something. Alex held up his hands peacefully. Kira, please, let's just figure this out together. Whatever's happening, we'll understand it. But Kira was already walking away, her skin patterns dim with what looked like fear and confusion. Stay away from me, Dr. Rivera. Until I know what you have done, you are dangerous. As Alex watched her leave the greenhouse, he realized their simple cultural exchange had become something much more complicated. Kira was experiencing something her species apparently didn't understand, and she blamed him for it. What Alex didn't know yet was that Kira's people had very strong opinions about the feelings she was developing, and those opinions could put both of them in serious danger. Alex didn't sleep that night. He kept thinking about Kira's glowing skin patterns and the fear in her violet eyes when she accused him of contaminating her. By morning, he had read every file on Valtharian biology 3 times, looking for answers. He couldn't find the emergency meeting call came at 6 in the morning. Dr. Rivera, you need to get here now. Director Chun's voice was tight with worry. The Valtharians are requesting an immediate meeting. Something's happened to their representative. Alex threw on his clothes and raced to the facility. When he arrived, he found the main conference room filled with tension you could cut with a knife. 3 Valtharian officials sat on one side of the table, their skin patterns a steady, cold blue that Alex had learned meant they were in full logical mode. Across from them sat the human diplomatic team, looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. But it was Kira who caught Alex's attention. She sat slightly apart from her own people, and her appearance shocked him. Her usually graceful posture was rigid, her skin patterns flickering between colors so fast it was almost painful to watch. She looked like someone fighting a fever. Dr. Rivera, the lead Valtharian official, spoke. His name was Commander Thane, and his voice carried the weight of authority. You will explain what you have done to Kira. I haven't done anything to her, Alex said, taking his seat carefully. We spent time together as part of the cultural exchange program. That's all. That is not all. Thane's skin patterns pulsed. Once, sharply. Show him, Kira. Kira looked up, and Alex saw exhaustion in her eyes. Since our time in your greenhouse, my biosystems have been in chaos. Watch. She held up a small device that projected her vital signs into the air above the table. The readings made Alex's stomach drop. Her heart rate was elevated, her brain activity showed patterns he'd never seen before, and her hormone levels were completely off the charts. These readings, Commander Thane continued, indicate severe biological distress. Her sleep cycles are disrupted. Her concentration is impaired. Most concerning, she reports experiencing physical sensations that no Valtharian has felt for over 1,000 years. What kind of sensations? Alex asked, though he was starting to have a terrible suspicion about the answer. Kira's skin patterns flashed bright gold for a moment before she controlled them. I think about you, my body temperature rises, and I remember your hand guiding. Mine to touch the flowers, my heart beats faster. When I imagine your voice, I feel a pulling sensation in my chest that makes me want to be near you. The room went completely silent. These symptoms, Thane said coldly, match historical records of what our ancestors called romantic attraction before we evolved beyond such primitive impulses. You have somehow triggered a reversal in her biological development. Alex felt like the ground was shifting under his feet. Commander, I think you're misunderstanding what's happening here. I haven't done anything to cause this. If Kira is experiencing attraction, it's a natural biological response, not contamination. Natural? Another Valtharian official, a female named Vera, spoke up. Dr. Rivera, our species eliminated these chaotic emotional responses centuries ago. They interfered with logical thinking and caused social instability. What Kira is experiencing is a dangerous regression. Why what if it's not a regression? Alex found himself standing up, his scientific curiosity overriding his diplomatic training. What if it's evolution moving forward, not backward? The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Explain, Thane said, his voice dangerously quiet. Alex looked at Kira, who was watching him with an expression he couldn't read. In human biology, attraction and emotional bonding serve important functions. They help us form partnerships, create families, build stronger communities. Maybe Kira isn't sick. Maybe she's developing capabilities that could benefit your entire species. Impossible, Vera snapped. We have built a perfect society based on logic and reason. These primitive urges nearly destroyed our civilization before we eliminated them. With respect, Director Chen spoke up for the first time. Perhaps we should focus on understanding what's happening before we make judgments about whether it's good or bad. Commander Thane turned his attention to the director. There is nothing to understand. Kira has been contaminated by exposure to human biology or psychology. We will return her to our homeworld immediately for corrective treatment. No. Word came out of Kira so forcefully that everyone turned to stare at her. Her skin patterns were blazing with gold and silver lights. I will not be corrected. Kira? Thane's voice carried warning. You are not thinking clearly. These foreign emotions are clouding your judgment. Are they? Kira stood up, and Alex was struck by how different she looked now compared to when she first arrived. It was something alive in her expression, something vibrant that hadn't been there before. For the first time in my life, I feel truly awake. Colors seem brighter. Sensations seem richer. When I experience what Dr. Rivera calls beauty, it creates joy inside me. Is this really something that needs to be corrected? Yes, Vera said firmly. Because it makes you unpredictable. It's unreliable. Look at yourself. Your biopatterns are completely chaotic. Maybe chaos isn't always bad, Kira said quietly. She looked directly at Alex. You said that when humans care about each other, touching makes them happy. That it's comforting. I think I understand now what you meant. Alex felt his heart racing. Kira, ... The pulling sensation I feel when I think about you, she continued. I don't think it's sickness. I think it's my body trying to tell me something important, something my people forgot how to hear. Commander Thane stood up abruptly. This discussion is over. Kira, you will return to the ship immediately. We depart for home within the hour. And if I refuse, Kira asked. The silence that followed was terrifying. You will not refuse, Thane said finally. Because you are no longer capable of making rational decisions. Contamination has progressed too far. Alex watched in horror as two more Valtharians entered the room and moved toward Kira with determined purpose. Wait, Alex said desperately. Please, just give us time to study what's happening. If you're right and she's sick, we'll find a way to help her. But if I'm right and this is natural evolution, then you might be about to destroy something incredible. Kira looked at him last time, and in her violet eyes, Alex saw something that made his chest tight. It wasn't just fear anymore. It was hope mixed with desperation. Dr. Rivera, she said softly as the other Valtharians reached her. If you are correct about evolution, then perhaps some changes are worth fighting for. As they escorted her from the room, Alex realized that their simple cultural exchange had become something much more dangerous. Kira wasn't just experiencing new emotions. She was becoming the first of her kind in centuries to feel what humans took for granted. And her people were willing to do anything to stop it. Alex spent the next 3 days pacing his office like a caged animal. The Valtharian ship still sat on the landing pad, but no one was allowed near it. Director Chen had tried negotiating with Commander Thane twice, but both meetings ended with the same message. Kira was receiving treatment, and the humans should not interfere. On the fourth morning, everything changed. Alex was reviewing Valtharian medical files when his computer chimed with an incoming message. The sender was listed as K, and the message was simple. Meet me at the greenhouse. Come alone. Trust no one else. His hand shook as he read it. Kira was supposed to be confined to her ship, undergoing whatever treatment her people thought would fix her. How was she sending messages? Alex looked around his office, then made a decision that could ruin his career or worse. He grabbed his jacket and headed for the greenhouse. The facility's botanical section was empty at this hour. Alex walked through the rows of plants, remembering how Kira had reacted to touching the rose petals just a week ago. Felt like a lifetime had passed since then. Dr. Rivera. He spun around and found Kira standing behind a cluster of jasmine plants. She looked different again. Her skin patterns were dim, almost gray, and she moved like someone trying not to be seen. Kira, how did you get here? I thought you were confined to your ship. I was. She stepped closer, and Alex could see exhaustion in her violet eyes. They had been trying to correct me for 3 days, but the treatments are not working as they expected. What kind of treatments? Kira touched her temple, and Alex noticed a small device attached there. Neural suppressors. Chemical blockers. They are designed to shut down the brain pathways that create emotional response. Her skin patterns flickered weakly. But every time they suppress one pathway, 2 more seemed to activate. Alex felt a mix of horror and fascination. They're trying to chemically alter your brain? Yes, and it is failing. Kira looked at him with something that might have been hope. Commander Thane believes this proves that contamination is more severe than they thought. But I think it proves something else entirely. What? That what I am feeling is not contamination? This is natural evolution, just as you suggested? Kira moved closer, and even in her weakened state, Alex could see the gold flickers returning to her skin patterns. The treatments should work if this was just chemical imbalance or foreign influence. But they cannot suppress something that is part of my biological design. Alex's scientific mind was racing. You're saying the capacity for these emotions was always there? Just dormant? More than dormant. Actively suppressed for generations. Kira's voice grew stronger. In my ship's medical bay, I accessed historical files that are normally restricted. Dr. Rivera, my people did not naturally evolve beyond emotion. We were genetically modified to eliminate it. The implications hit Alex like a physical blow. Your ancestors were forced to give up their ability to feel, not forced, convinced. Kira's skin patterns pulsed with what Alex was learning to recognize as anger. There was a period in our history when emotional conflicts led to wars. Instead of learning to manage these feelings, our leaders decided to eliminate them entirely. They convinced everyone it was evolution, but it was actually artificial suppression. And now that suppression is breaking down, in me, yes. And Commander Thane is terrified of what that means. Kira looked around the greenhouse nervously. If other Valtharians learn that emotion can return, that it was taken from us rather than naturally lost, it could destroy everything our current society is built on. Alex understood now why the Valtharian officials had been so determined to correct Kira quickly and quietly. They're not trying to cure you, they're trying to hide you, exactly. But I need your help to prove what is really happening. Kira pulled out a small data device. I have been monitoring my own biology during the treatments. Patterns are clear, but I need a human scientist to verify the data. Someone they cannot dismiss as emotionally compromised. Alex took the device, his fingers brushing against Kira's. The moment they touched, her skin patterns blazed with gold light so bright it filled the entire greenhouse with a warm glow. This reaction, Alex said softly, it happens every time we touch. Yes. Kira's voice was barely a whisper. Oh. And it grows stronger each time, despite all their treatments. Got it. How can that be contamination, if medical intervention cannot stop it? Alex looked at the data device, then back at Kira's glowing face. We need to analyze this properly. But if they're monitoring you, how did you escape to meet me? I did not escape. I'm still connected to their systems. Kira touched the device on her temple. But I discovered something interesting. When my emotional responses spike high enough, it overloads their monitoring equipment. They lose track of me for short periods. You're using your own emotions to jam their surveillance. In simple terms, yes. A ghost of a smile crossed Kira's features. Ironic that the very thing they are trying to eliminate is what allows me to resist them. Alex made a decision. Come with me to my lab. We'll analyze your data and document everything. If you're right about this being natural evolution, then other people need to know. It is dangerous for both of us, Kira warned. If Commander Thane discovers what we are doing, he will not hesitate to take extreme measures. What kind of extreme measures? Kira's skin patterns dimmed to almost nothing. There are protocols for handling contamination events that threaten our species. If they decide I cannot be corrected and might influence other Valtharians, they have the authority to eliminate the problem permanently. The words hit Alex like ice water. They would kill you. They would say they are saving our species from regression to primitive chaos. Kira looked at him with eyes that seemed much older than they had a week ago. But I have felt what they call chaos, Dr. Rivera. When I touch a flower and feel its beauty, when I hear music and feel joy, when I look at you and feel this strange pulling in my chest. If this is chaos, then I choose chaos over emptiness.
Alex
Felt something shift inside him. This wasn't just about scientific discovery anymore. It was about a person fighting for the right to feel, to experience life fully instead of just existing. Then we document everything, he said firmly. We prove that what you're experiencing is natural. We find a way to protect you while we do it. Kira's skin patterns flared bright gold again. You would risk your career, your safety, for someone you barely know? Alex thought about it for a moment, then realized the answer was simple. Kira, a week ago you were just another alien visitor. But watching you discover emotions, seeing you fight for the right to feel them, has changed something in me too. I don't know what that makes us, but I know I can't let them take this away from you. For the first time since he'd met her, Kira smiled. Really smiled. And her skin patterns exploded into colors Alex had never seen before, filling the greenhouse with light that looked like captured starfire. Then we begin, she said, but we must hurry. I estimate we have perhaps 2 hours before they notice I am gone. As they headed toward Alex's lab, neither of them noticed the small surveillance device that had been watching from behind the orchids. Commander Thane already knew exactly where his wayward subordinate had gone, and he was preparing to take much more decisive action than simple medical treatment. Alex had never worked so fast in his life. His lab hummed with activity as he and Kira analyzed her biological data. Every reading confirmed what she had suspected. Her brain wasn't being contaminated or damaged. It was healing from centuries of artificial suppression. Look at this pattern. Alex pointed to the screen showing Kira's neural activity. These pathways that your people call abnormal? They're identical to human emotional processing centers. This isn't foreign contamination. This is your natural biology reasserting itself. Kira leaned closer to study the data, and Alex caught the scent of something like starlight and ozone that seemed to follow her. Can you prove this to my people? Show them that I am not sick? These readings are clear evidence, but Alex hesitated. Kira, even if we prove you're not contaminated, your leaders might not care. They've built their entire society around suppressing these abilities. Then what do you suggest? Before Alex could answer, every alarm in the facility started blaring. Emergency lights flashed red, and the computer announced in its calm, mechanical voice, "Security breach detected. All personnel remain in current locations." Kira's skin patterns went completely dark. They found us. Through the lab's windows, Alex could see Valtharian guards surrounding the building. They moved with deadly efficiency, sealing every exit. Commander Thane's voice echoed through the facility's communication system. "Dr. Rivera, you have interfered with internal Valtharian affairs for the last time. Release our contaminated crew member immediately, or face the consequences." Alex looked at Kira, who seemed to be shrinking into herself. The vibrant, glowing being who had been discovering emotions was fading back into the frightened person he'd first met. "I should go," she whispered. "I should not have involved you in this. No." Alex surprised himself with how firm his voice sounded. "You were right to fight for this. What you're experiencing isn't wrong or dangerous. It's beautiful. Beautiful." Hair's patterns flickered weakly. "Yes. Watching you discover joy, wonder, even fear and anger. Seeing you become fully alive instead of just existing. That's not contamination, Kira. That's growth." The lab door exploded inward. Commander Thane entered with 4 guards, their weapons drawn but not yet aimed. His skin patterns were the coldest blue Alex had ever seen. "Step away from her, Dr. Rivera. This ends now." "Commander, please, just look at the data," Alex gestured toward the screens full of readings. "Kira isn't sick. She's not contaminated. She's experiencing natural biological functions that your people suppressed artificially." "Natural." Thane moved closer, his voice deadly quiet. "Dr. Rivera, you clearly do not understand what you are dealing with. These emotional responses nearly destroyed our civilization. Wars fought over feelings. Resources wasted on irrational desires. Families torn apart by jealousy and heartbreak. We eliminated these weaknesses for good reason. But you also eliminated joy, wonder, love, and connection," Alex shot back. "You didn't solve your problems. You just stopped feeling them." "Exactly." Thane's patterns pulsed once, and it made us stronger, more logical, more advanced than any species in this sector of the galaxy. Kira stood up slowly, her skin patterns still dim but growing slightly brighter. "Commander, with respect, if we are so advanced, why are we the only species we have encountered that has eliminated emotion? Humans have the same capacity for conflict that we did, yet they have learned to manage their feelings rather than destroy them. Humans are primitive and chaotic." Vera, who had entered behind Thane, spoke up. "Look at their history. Wars, crime, suffering, all caused by uncontrolled emotion. But also art, music, scientific breakthroughs, acts of heroism, and love that transcends individual needs," Alex countered. "Yes, emotions can cause problems, but they also drive everything that makes life worth living." Thane raised his hand for silence. "This philosophical debate is irrelevant. Kira, you will return to the ship for complete neural restructuring. The treatments we attempted were too mild. More aggressive intervention is required, and if I refuse..." The silence stretched like a held breath. "You will not refuse," Thane said finally, "because you no longer have that option. Your condition has progressed beyond the point where we can risk you influencing other Valtharians. You cannot be corrected. You will be contained permanently." Alex felt ice in his veins. "You mean imprisoned?" "I mean removed from situations where she could spread this contamination to others of our kind." Kira's skin pattern suddenly blazed with gold fire. "So you admit it can spread? That other Valtharians could experience what I am experiencing?" Thane's patterns flickered, just for a moment. "That is precisely why you are so dangerous," Kira said, her voice growing stronger. "That is precisely why I am so important." She turned to Alex, and in her violet eyes he saw determination replacing fear. "Dr. Rivera, if I cannot return to my people as myself, will you help me send them a message they cannot ignore or suppress?" "What kind of message?" Kira looked at the data screen still displaying her biological readings. "Proof not just of what is happening to me, but proof that it could happen to any of them. Evidence that their perfect logical society is built on a lie." Commander Thane stepped forward, his weapon now raised. "You will not transmit anything to our homeworld. Guards, secure the contaminated individual." As the Valtharian guards moved toward Kira, Alex made the most impulsive decision of his life. He stepped between them and her, spreading his arms wide. "Dat, before you take her, answer one question." Thane's eyes narrowed. "Speak quickly." "Emotions are so dangerous and primitive. Why are you feeling anger right now?" "Your skin patterns have been showing emotional stress this entire time. Fear, when Kira suggested others could be like her. Anger, when she challenged your authority. Disgust when I defended her." Alex kept his voice steady despite his racing heart. Commander, I think you're not as emotionally dead as you believe. You're just afraid of admitting it. The room went deadly quiet. Every Valtharian stared at their commander, whose skin patterns were indeed cycling through colors that clearly indicated emotional turmoil. Thane looked down at his own glowing skin. For a moment, his perfect logical facade cracked. This is impossible. I underwent full emotional suppression procedures decades ago. Maybe the suppression isn't as permanent as your people thought, Alex said gently. Maybe being around Kira is triggering natural responses in all of you. Vera stepped backward, looking at her own skin patterns, which were now flickering with confused pulses of light. The guards were also beginning to show color changes, their rigid discipline wavering as they experienced sensations they didn't understand. This is what I wanted to show our people, Kira said softly, that the ability to feel was never truly eliminated.
Oh.
It was just buried so deep that it took the right trigger to bring it back to the surface. Commander Thane stared at his hands, watching colors pulse across his skin in patterns he probably hadn't seen in decades. When he looked up, his eyes held something Alex had never seen there before. Uncertainty. If this is true, Thane said, slowly, if the suppression is failing in all of us, then everything we believe about our society, our evolution, our superiority, might need to be reconsidered, Kira finished. Commander, I am not your enemy. I am your scout, exploring a path that could lead our people to become more than they ever imagined possible.
Alex
watched as the most powerful Valtharian he'd ever met struggled with the possibility that everything he'd been taught might be wrong. The next few moments would determine not just Kira's fate, but possibly the future of two entire species. Show me, Thane said finally, his voice barely a whisper. Show me everything you have learned about what we used to be. 3 months later, Alex stood in the same greenhouse where everything had started, but the world had changed completely. The jasmine plants were blooming again, filling the air with their sweet scent, and he wasn't alone. Kira sat on a bench. Nearby, her skin patterns showing a steady, peaceful gold that Alex had learned meant contentment. But she wasn't the same person who had first touched a rose petal and been overwhelmed by sensation. She was calmer now, more in control of her new abilities. The latest reports from your homeworld, Alex said, handing her a data tablet. 12. More Valtharians have begun showing emotional responses. Kira smiled, an expression that still made her skin glow brighter. 12 this week. That makes nearly 200 total since Commander Thane returned with our data. It had been the most dramatic 3 months in human history. After seeing the proof that emotional suppression was artificial and potentially reversible, Commander Thane had made an unprecedented decision. Instead of trying to contain Kira, he had chosen to study her. And what they discovered changed everything. The Valtharian genetic modifications weren't permanent. They were more like a chemical lock that could be broken under the right circumstances. Exposure to strong emotional stimuli, particularly from other species who still had full emotional range, could trigger the ancient pathways to reactivate. How was Commander Thane adjusting? Alex asked. Kira's patterns shifted to amused silver. He experiences anger frequently when the Valtharian Council questions his decisions. But yesterday, he told me he also felt something he called happiness. When he succeeded in helping another officer through their first emotional awakening, he is learning that feelings can be positive as well as challenging, and the resistance back home, strong but weakening. Kira's expression grew more serious. Many of our leaders are terrified of what this means. They have built careers, entire power structures, around the idea that logic is superior to emotion. Admitting that we artificially suppressed a natural part of ourselves threatens everything they represent. Alex nodded. He'd seen the reports. Some Valtharian colonies were embracing the rediscovery of emotion, while others were implementing even stricter suppression protocols. The species was dividing into two camps, and tensions were rising. Do you regret it? He asked. Starting all this change? Kira was quiet for a long moment, her skin patterns cycling through colors Alex had learned to read like a book. Thoughtful blue, mixed with warm gold, touched by just a hint of concerned orange. Dr. Rivera, Do you remember the first day we met? When I accused you of contaminating me, how could I forget? You were terrified and angry. Yes, I was. But do you know what I remember most clearly from that day? Kira turned to look at him directly. For the first time in my life, I felt truly alive. It's not just existing, not just functioning, but alive. Even the fear and confusion were better than the emptiness I had lived with for decades. She stood up and walked to the roses that had started everything. I have learned much about emotion since then. They are not always pleasant. I have felt sadness when some of my people rejected what I offered them. I have felt frustration when progress is slow. I have even felt loneliness when I remember that I am still the only Valtharian on Earth. But I have also felt wonder at a sunset, joy when hearing human music, satisfaction when helping another of my kind discover their own capacity, for feeling, and ... She hesitated, her patterns shifting to soft pink. I have felt deep affection for the human scientist who helped me understand that what I was experiencing was not a curse, but a gift. Alex felt his own heart skip a beat.
Oh, right.
He had developed feelings for her that went beyond scientific interest, but he had never spoken of them, assuming that whatever she felt was simply gratitude or the result of him being the first person to treat her condition as natural rather than dangerous. Kira, ... I know that our species are different, she continued, still studying the roses. I know that what I feel for you may not be the same as what humans call love, but it is deeper than friendship, stronger than gratitude, and more important to me than safety or acceptance by my own people. Alex moved to stand beside her. What are you saying? I am saying that 6 months ago, I was an empty shell, pretending to be alive. Today, I am a complete being capable of experiencing the full range of existence. And the person most responsible for that transformation is standing next to me. Probably wondering if an alien can truly understand human emotions well enough to mean what she is about to say, Alex's breath caught, just Kira turned to face him, her skin patterns blazing with colors he had never seen before, beautiful and complex beyond description. That I love you, Dr. Alex Rivera, not because you were the catalyst for my awakening, but because of who you are. Your kindness, your courage, your willingness to risk everything to defend someone different from yourself. You showed me that. Emotions are not weaknesses to be suppressed, but strengths to be celebrated. Alex felt like the ground had shifted beneath his feet, but in the best possible way. Kira, I've been fighting these feelings for months, telling myself it was inappropriate, that you were my research subject, that the situation was too complicated, ... And now I realize that love is probably the least complicated thing. About this entire situation, Alex reached out and gently took her hands. The moment their skin touched, her patterns exploded into radiant light that filled the entire greenhouse. I love you too. I don't know how it works between our species. I don't know what the future holds, but I know that what I feel for you is real. Kira's smile was brighter than starfire. Then we will discover the answers together, just as we have discovered everything else. As they stood together in the greenhouse, surrounded by the flowers that had started Kira's journey toward becoming fully alive, Alex reflected on how much had changed. The shy, controlled alien who had first arrived on Earth had become a pioneer, leading her people toward rediscovering what it meant to feel. And in the process, she had taught him something about himself. What happens next? He asked. Next, we continue the work. More of my people will choose to awaken their emotions. Humans and Valtharians will learn to understand each other, not just as allies, but as beings capable of forming deep connections across species lines. Kira's patterns shifted to determined gold. And perhaps most importantly, we proved that evolution is not about becoming less than what you were, but about becoming more than you ever imagined possible. Alex squeezed her hands gently. Together? Together, Kira confirmed. After all, the best discoveries are always made by teams. As the sun set outside the greenhouse, painting the sky in colors that made Kira gasp with wonder, Alex realized that their story was just beginning. What had started as a simple cultural exchange had become something unprecedented, the first love story between species, built on the foundation of one person's courage to feel everything life had to offer, and in a universe full of wonders still waiting to be discovered, that seemed like the perfect place to start.